What my amendment does very simply is say that the bill does not apply to an individual who's convicted as an adult for one of the following offenses. One would be the murder of a minor or the first-degree rape of a minor. We've had some discussion today and yesterday about some of the terrible cases that are involved with people who have life without parole, the very small number of people who have life without parole that they were sentenced to as minors. I just want to say I'd like to share a case as well that I think illustrates this issue. There's been some concern about speaking these truths on the floor. There's been some warning of the public, which is fine. I do have to say that whenever I flip on Netflix or other types of streaming services, I see television shows that go way in depth to the mind of deranged criminals. In fact, I would probably suggest in our society we should probably do a little less watching of that kind of thing. But this is not a television show. It's not Criminal Minds or any of these other types of investigative shows. This is real. It's real life. And as we consider this bill, we have to look at what is real in real life. I'm sympathetic to the idea that we would not typically want a minor to stay in prison for the rest of their life in general. But we are talking about very heinous crimes committed by people who, while I believe in the redemption of someone's spirit, there is justice that needs to be served. So I'm offering this amendment because I think this might get at the heart of some of the worst crimes. In 2008, Nick Browning snuck into his home, put a gun to the back of his father's head while he was sleeping on the couch, and executed him. He then proceeded to kill his mother and his two brothers, aged 14 and 11. At the time of these murders, Nick Browning was 15. He was 6'2", 200 pounds, and had an IQ of 125. Before he left the home after the murders, he staged the scene to look like a burglary very carefully, including scattering contents across the floor and disconnecting video game machines and putting them on a pool table. He then returned to a friend's home where he was at a sleepover, played video games, and went to the mall the next day. He even called and left messages at home for his family to cover his tracks. He confessed to these murders and admitted he had a long-standing plan to kill his family because he wanted his family's money. He pled guilty to 4 murders and received 2 life sentences. Cases like these are why we still have, in my view, why we should still have this law. For someone who was a calculated killer, committed these kind of murders, premeditated, and in this case, not just killed his parents, but also killed his 2 minor siblings. So my amendment would say that if you're found guilty of murder of a minor and tried it as an adult, or first-degree rape, which, in case anybody doesn't know, is when you are convicted of raping someone and using a weapon to force them, or threat of a weapon to force them to comply to that. I believe that we should exempt that out of this bill. That actually make this bill, I think, much more reasonable, and hopefully get more at the intent of trying to make sure that, in general, we would give juveniles another opportunity. So I move the amendment, Mr. President.